we're going to bring up your next speaker. That's going to be the wonderful, magnificent Chris James.
If you talk about how much you hate your fat, your body has been working all this time to keep you alive.
I don't think anybody in my circle understands impossible.
Hi, I'm Chris James. You're watching A Healthy Alternative, and today I want to talk about something that's been pressing on my heart. And it's this. The benefit of fasting is weight loss. Not only is that the benefit of fasting, it's the only benefit of fasting. That is the thought that a lot of people have when they see some of my content. That is the thought that people have when they think about fasting. Because like in the modern world, especially in America, what we put our energy towards is aesthetics a lot. And we look at a tool like fasting, we say, well, it's really good to help your aesthetic. And we think that's the only benefit of fasting. And the reality is, I have been using the weight loss as a tool, as a way to bring you guys in order to teach you about fasting. But I never want you to forget about the benefits of fasting that come outside of weight loss. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to tickle your fancy. We're going to talk a little bit about the benefits of fasting as it relates to weight loss. And then we're going to talk about some of the other benefits of fasting, because I want you guys to understand there's a balance of fasting and there's a tremendous amount of benefits, more than you could probably ever even imagine. All right, so first of all, the average weight loss that you're going to get from a water fast is 2 pounds per day. If you're doing a juice fast, that goes down to about 1 pound per day. But the benefit of doing the juice fast is it's a lot easier. So you could typically fast a lot longer, especially if you're new to fasting. You could do like a 15-day or even a 21-day juice fast, much easier than you could do like a 15-day or a 21-day water fast out the gate, all right? So if you guys want to push the weight loss up a notch, then I'm going to recommend dry fasting. Now, we've been talking a lot about dry fasting recently. We just finished our DR48 Advanced Dry Fasting Challenge, which is incredible. One of our participants had a 8% body fat release. They lost 8% of their body fat during the challenge, y'all. So what we teach and what we do is very powerful, and I'm not going to get into all of that today, but in the future, I've got some content coming talking about new challenges and stuff. All right, so what can you lose with dry fasting? Well, you could lose about 3 to 4 pounds a day on average, okay? So it's 1, 2, 3. It's very, very powerful. There's nothing that the traditional dietary methods have on fasting. You can't even lose this much weight smoking, you know what I mean? You know what I'm talking about. You know what I mean. All right, so anyway, that's your weight loss. Now, there is such a thing as fasting springback. I have done a video on fasting springback. If I remember, I'll put it in the card. I'll put it in the description box. The fasting springback is you lose 15 pounds on your fast, okay? And depending heavily on what you eat or what you drink after the fast, how you break the fast, you can gain anywhere from 2 to 10 pounds, okay? So that's the fasting springback. Typically, on average, people are going to see about a 5-pound gain. If you gain 10, it's not abnormal. It still does happen, but you're towards the high end. If you've gained 12, 14 pounds back, there's something wrong, okay? So, and when I say something wrong, it doesn't necessarily mean that you didn't refeed properly. It doesn't necessarily mean that you're eating the wrong foods. When I mean by something's wrong is it could be hormonal imbalance. It could be digestive issues. You could be doing the right things and still not getting results. But that's the benefit of being a part of one of our challenges or consulting with us or even being a part of our community where you could talk to other people and ask them questions and get a little bit more information on how to rectify that issue. But that's abnormal. That shouldn't be happening, okay? So you guys can kind of figure out how much weight loss you could potentially use with these fundamental understandings, all right? So that's the weight loss. We've seen people lose 100 pounds in 3 months. It's not uncommon, all right? As a matter of fact, I'm going to be bringing a special guest on probably in the next couple, well, when you guys see it, it'll probably be in August or something like that. But I'm going to have him on the show. We're going to do the recording in the next couple of days, next week or two. And this man has not only lost large amounts of weight once. He's lost large amounts of weight twice. Okay? So losing a large amount of weight in a short duration of time, we do that all day, every day. Right? I prefer you guys to actually push it out. Because when you push it out, let's say instead of losing 100 pounds in 3 months, you do it in 6 months. What you actually develop is lifestyle change. And through lifestyle change, you have less fasting springback. You have less issues from eating the wrong foods. And it's easier to maintain your weight loss. So that's really the way you want to approach it. All right. So now let's look at some of the benefits outside of weight loss. Mental clarity. Mental clarity is something that in the modern time we all need. How many times have you been, you're on your bed, you're doing something, you're thinking, oh, let me go downstairs and turn my oven off. And then you get up, you're halfway down the steps and you're like, wait, what was I about to do? Or you put your keys down, you just run in real quick. You gotta run in, use the bathroom, then you gotta dart back out the house. You put your keys down and you can't figure out where you put your keys. And all you did was pee in between that time. Right? For me, that was happening to me in my late 20s, early 30s, and I know you guys are experiencing that. All right? It's scary because dementia and Alzheimer's is becoming prevalent. I mean, 50% plus of people over the age of 60 or something are getting dementia or Alzheimer's. It's insane. You do not want to grow. You don't want to grow old, your golden years, and forget who you are, who your family is. Forget the precious memories. Do you understand how that's tragic, okay? So we need to start addressing that today. Now, we understand that there's a dietary component to this, right? I believe it's dementia or Alzheimer's is considered type 5 diabetes or type 3 diabetes. And so we want to make sure that we're eating the right things. So that's important. But fasting is a great tool to reset the body, right? So we got mental clarity. Now, what happens when you get better mental clarity? You make better relational decisions. One of the things that I did when I started getting healthy, I cleared out my friend group. I was already pretty good. I had a good group of friends, but there were some people straggling that, were impacting me in a negative way, but I just couldn't see it. Well, with mental clarity and also just vibrating at a different frequency, you naturally become in discord with certain people. And you think, man, that's terrible. These are friends I've had for 14 years. But have you ever prayed that prayer to God? Hey, God, remove any obstacles in my way that are keeping me from my success and the path that I want to be on. So sometimes God answers that prayer, and that obstacle is one of your best friends. Now, it doesn't mean that you can never talk to them again or that you have to be mean to them. It just means that you guys don't hang out as much. Your regular habits kind of change. And they're going to say, hey, you're changing. Or sometimes they don't say anything. Because when you guys get in a disharmonious frequency, you both feel it. So you naturally move apart. And that's okay. It doesn't mean that they can't raise their vibration and meet you on the other side at some point, right? So weight loss, mental clarity. What else happens? Well, you start to have a different outlook on life. I mentioned in a different video, when you fast, you say, oh man, if there was a natural disaster, I'd be good because I can fast for 21 days and survive, right? That's enough time for you to find food, water, shelter, etc. Whereas before you're thinking, I'm going to die in 3 days if I don't find food. What that does to you mentally is on a whole different level. Now, this might be an extreme example. Some of you all may have never experienced anything like that, but what it really speaks to is your body and your mind being in a fight or flight mode. Understand, when you're in fight or flight, you have lower brain function. Okay? I want you guys to think about this. What does fight or flight mean? It means you're in you're in a safari, you done fell off the truck, and there's a lion chasing you. Okay? And you're like, man, that lion looks hungry, and you're running for your life. Okay? You're not thinking about marriage. You're not thinking about having baby or reproducing. You're not thinking about your health. You're not thinking about your mental. You're just thinking about, I got to get away from this lion. Everything else can come later. So imagine you being in fight or flight throughout your daily life, the way it impacts you, because you may not be consciously aware of it, but your body is aware of it subconsciously. It means you're going to have fertility issues. It means you're going to be arguing with your spouse or your boyfriend or your girlfriend. It means you're going to say things to your children that you don't really mean. It means you're going to be stressed at work, arguing, fighting, fussing, and you're going to have poor customer service. You're going to have poor outcomes. You cannot go through life in fight or flight. You're going to develop disease because cortisol levels are going to be high all the time. And we know cortisol is the silent killer. So that means early mortality. So when I say you're going to have a better outlook on life, it's not just, oh, life is wonderful and the flowers are blooming. I'm talking about longevity. I'm talking quality of life. I'm talking better relationships. I'm talking better outcomes. Now, look, let's go back to the aesthetic thing, because we lose weight, but that's not all you get from fasting. You also get age reversal. When we very first started teaching fasting and we were doing fasting, my family was doing fasting, we saw my brother John took 10 years off of his age. 10 years. I did too, but see, I got the beard, so it was hard to see it. So we didn't see my age reversal until one day I decided to cut my beard down, and it's all documented. It's all on YouTube. You know, you got to go back to my older videos, and you can see I got the beard and then I don't got the beard, and you can just see how young I look. Some of y'all be like, yeah, Chris, you look older now. Well, if I cut the beard, I'll cut another 5-10 years off, right? So I'm okay with that. I like the mature look I get from my beard. But the point is, if you have fine lines, age spots, skin tags, wrinkles, etc., things that you think are because of age aren't actually because of age. It's disease of the body. See, when I very first started teaching fasting, I started asking myself these questions. Who told us we had to be old to die? Where did we get that from? There's nothing in the Bible that says you got to be old to die. There's nothing in science that says you got to be old to die. So why is it that we are so trained that in order to die, we got to be old? And what do I mean by that? I want to make sure we're clear here. Just because you're 60 doesn't mean you got to look 60. Where did you get that programming from? Is it possible that there are people out there that look 60, that are 60 but don't look 60? Is that a thing? Well, yeah, it is, because we see examples of it. I'm not going to use this woman as an example, Kris Jenner, because she's doing something, okay, nefarious to look as young as she looks, because she looks way too young. She looks way too long. She looks like she's in her 30s, and she used to look old. Okay, so she's doing something nefarious to look young. That's just me. I don't know. Maybe I get hate for that. But when you use fasting as a way to reverse the hands of time, you get 10 years off your age easily. Not only 10 years off of your age, like visually, but 10 years off of your metabolic age. Your body presents as a younger person. And what does that mean? It means you get to add time on the back of your life. So as you build this better life for yourself, you get to enjoy it longer. Okay? So you're going to look better. You're going to feel better. You know how when you, like, as you get in the 30s and 40s, you get these aches and pains. It's like, where is this ache coming from? I ain't did nothing. Or you go, you hit the basketball court, or you go, you do a spin class or whatever, and there's just so much pain. And you're like, man, 15 years ago, I could do this, no problem. Wake up, drink, do whatever. Go to the club, no problem. Work, go back, do it again, no problem. And now I just go from my slow, mundane life or whatever, and I go and I do this one thing, and I'm all tore up for a week. That's because your body is aging. That's disease in your body. That's inflammation. It's arthritis, right? And so when you utilize fasting, guess what else it does? It greatly reduces inflammation of the body. Now, inflammation, depending on who you talk to, people will tell you inflammation is the root cause of all disease. Okay? So if you have inflamed bowels, you've got a bowel obstruction, you start getting a hernia, you start getting all kinds of problems. If you have inflammation in your joints, then your hands are sore. You can't braid hair anymore. You stand for too long. You got inflammation in your ankles. One of my grandmothers, when I met her, she was probably in her early 60s. She lived in a very tiny home before they were popular, and it was 2 steps to get up to her house. So there's 2 steps. You go up, boom, into the house, and then everything is all one floor. And I would watch my grandmother in her 60s. She was not old. 60 is not old, y'all. But I would watch her. She was obese, and she had inflamed ankles. And I would watch her take a good 30 seconds to 45 seconds to get up those 2 steps and get into the house. And then so then she would come and visit us at our house, and she never knew what upstairs looked like, because it wasn't just 2 steps, it was like 25. And so not only would it be unrealistic for her to go up there, she would need help, and it would take her forever. Okay? She was in her 60s. Do you want to be in your 60s and not be able to go up a flight of stairs? I was talking to a family member recently, and they had just recently built a house, and they could have had a floor plan with two levels, right? Which would have given them more square footage on a smaller footprint, which in my opinion is more efficient, is better, especially if you want more rooms for grandchildren and people visiting, blah, blah, blah. But they decided, no, we're not going to do the second floor because, we're in our 50s. We're getting up there. In the next 10 years, 15 years, we're not going to be going up and down them steps like that. Where did they learn that? They learned it the same way I did from their grandparents. They learned when you get old, you can't go up and down steps. So they altered the floor plan of their house in order not to have to deal with that. Do you understand how much of a hassle that is? Like, this is just the tip of the iceberg, right? We can think of 1,000 other ways that this becomes a problem. So the longevity, the quality of life, your aesthetics, your weight, the reduced inflammation, your mobility, your flexibility, all of these things are impacted by fasting, your dietary strategy. And as you fast, you lose weight. Now you have less inflammation. As you fast, you clear up gut issues or bowel obstructions. Now you have less inflammation. You have less joint pain. It's all connected. All right. So anyway, today I just wanted to point to a few things maybe you guys haven't thought about, or maybe you haven't looked at it in this way. Fasting is a tool you could use to give you all of this and more. We could be here for an hour, 2 hours. Yeah, it's time to start building that fasting muscle, y'all. It's time to start doing that work. Put it in. Be consistent. You don't got to do nothing crazy. Start out with 24 hours. Start out with 36 hours. Start out with 56 hours. It doesn't matter. Choose a time frame and just go. All right, if you guys enjoyed this video, hit that thumbs up button for me. If you want to see more videos like this, subscribe. And as always, the application of knowledge is power. And I'll see you all next time. Peace.